Hi guys, good morning and good evening. I hope you're able to hear me. Can anyone please confirm? Okay, perfect. So in the last session we have seen how we can remove a file if the file is less than 2 KB that we came across it with delete activity, and also we have seen how we can create a hierarchical folder hierarchically, like year, month number. In the month number you will be having day number, inside the day number you will be having a files. So that is also one of the way to create it. And today I'm going to take you through few new activities, new act, like as part of the data factory. We have a few more things that we are going to see. I have a requirement to create a pipeline to read the data from only CSV files. I have a various varieties of the extensions of the files. So this all will be for interview point of view. Okay, so you may not get this kind of situations to work at the time of working, but basically at the time of interview, there are more chances to ask. And sometimes they will give a task and they will ask you to do it. Okay, so I wanted to create a pipeline to read the data from only CSV files from the input directory and change the name of the files by adding the date. So here, if you observe, I have a customer.csv, department.json, employee.parquet, and so on. Okay, so various extension I'm having. Apart from that, there is a folder is available here. This is a folder, it's not a file. Okay, so that is one thing. And from out of all these things, out of all these items, I wanted to read the data from only CSV files. This is one and this is another one. So here the output is customer and you'll be having a date, and employee and you'll be having a date. So you are going to keep the today's date. So today's date is 04 and 03. Here it is 04, 03. So today's date it is going to get. So we already know how we can get this format. Okay, so more or less same the way we have seen in the last time. So in order to do this, let's break this requirement into pieces. The first piece is I wanted to get the list of items. I wanted to get the list of items. In order to get the list of items, we are going to use the activity called get metadata activity. We already seen in the last session also. And that output of this get metadata or the list of items, we need to give it to another activity. So that activity we are going to do in the second step, apply the filter or apply all these items. Out of all these items, I wanted to get only .csv. So if this is the case, we need to apply the filter. If this is the case, we need to apply the filter. So apply filter to get only CSV files. Apply the filter to get only CSV files. And so once you get a CSV files, so list of files you are going to get, right? 100% you are not going to get single file. Even if you get a single file, the output of the second task is going to get a list of items. In this particular case, I'm going to get customer.csv and employee.csv. So those two items we need to give it to for each activity to iterate the loop, to read and copy data from source to target. So inside for each we are going to keep the copy data activity. So this part we already know. The first part we already know. And third part we already come across it, and fourth also we come across it. The only new thing that you are going to come here is applying the filter. So let me apply the filter for this. Okay, so first of all, let's go and set up the services. The required services is Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 and Azure Data Factory. These two services are required. Let me go and set up the services. Let me create a first storage account. I don't have anything. I just removed everything from the subscription. Let's create a resource group. Bhaskar-dev. Storage account name is Bhaskar ADLS Gen 2. LRS. Let's go to next. Make this enable hierarchical namespace review plus create. Let's create it. While it is creating, let's go and set up the data factory. Let's go to the data factories. Let's create. Let's take existing resource group. Name of data factory is ADF Bhaskar 103. Central India. Review plus create. Let's go to resource. Launch a data factory studio. When storage account is also created. Containers. Plus container. Let me say input. No. Data files is the data container. So let's go inside this and I'm just going to let me refresh this again. Data files. Inside the data files, input directory. So I'm not creating output directory. I'll create output directory with data factory. Let's go for link service. Other data factory is ready. Let me create a new link service. Before that, I'm just going to upload the required files as per this. Customer.csv, department.json. Let's upload. Customer.csv, department.json, employee.parquet. Employee.csv is also there. Employee.parquet and employee2 3.txt. Let's upload. So total 6 files. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and sample folder. Let me add a directory called sample. Okay, so now I wanted to read the data from only .csv files. So if you want to do that, then first you have to get the list of details, list of items. So in order to get the list of items, you need to connect and create a data set to point to the input directory. So first of all, to connect your Azure Data Lake Storage into, you need to have a link service. That we know already from the beginning of the data factory, we are coming across it. Let's say continue. Link service underscore Bhaskar ADLS Gen2. Let's take a subscription, storage account, make a test connection and create. And let's go to the author. I'm going to create a data set to point to my input directory. When you create a data set to get the list of items, you should not point to any of this item. You should point to up to this, the parent of all these items. The parent of all these items is input. So up to input only we have to say when you create a data set. Let's create a new data set. Azure Data Lake Storage Gen2. Hit continue, delimited. This is all we know already. ts underscore data files underscore input. So I'm just keeping only up to input. Let's take a link service and browse the folder till input. I don't need to find any of them because I have to get all these items. To get all these items, your data set points only to this particular folder only. Let's hit OK. And just say none here. And I'm just going to say hit OK. Now let me create a pipeline. A new pipeline. Pipeline underscore read data from CSV files only. So what is the first activity we are going to use? Get metadata. So we already talked about it. Get metadata activity is used to get the details of the file system. So to get the database details, we can use lookup activity. But for get metadata also we can use, but very limited details we can get it. So not recommended to look into the database by using get metadata. Let's say, now I'm just going to take input data set. What is the fill item? Most of the people are making a mistake here. You have to take up to input. When you take a child items, your data set should point to the folder, not a file. Let's take a child items. Now, if you run this, it is going to give the list of items, whatever the list of items we are having in this particular folder, in this input folder is going to give it. Now, if you see the output of this activity, you can see here, all the files are there. Apart from all the files, we can see folder is also there. But I don't need all of them. I need only .csv. If you can see your file extension is .csv, those details only I wanted to get it. So in order to get that, we need to use the activity called filter activity. I need to use the activity called filter activity. It is used to restrict the metadata by applying the conditions. Your filter activity is not going to deal with the actual data. You're not talking with actual data. You're talking about metadata. Okay, so we are going to apply a restriction on the metadata. So list of items means is a metadata. We are not going inside the file and what is there inside the file. We are not looking with the filter activity and that is not possible. Okay, so I'm just trying to restrict the metadata here based on the condition. Okay, so you have to specify the condition. By applying the conditions, we can do it. So based on the condition, we can get the data from the filter activity. Okay, you are giving some input, 10 items you are giving to the filter activity. The output of the filter activity maybe 10 items, maybe less than 10 items. Mostly 100% is less than 10 items. So if it is same items, then we don't go for filter. Okay. So let's say, for example, you are getting 5 items you're getting means you're restricting the data. You're restricting to read the data from the number of files. So output of the filter activity is collection of items. The output here, this is a filter activity, right? So filter activity is taking collection of items. Filter activity is going to give collection of items. So that means the output of the filter activity is collection of items. The output of the filter activity is collection of items. So that is what we are going to have it. Let's go here. I'm just going to add filter activity. Let's bring that and give it to filter. The output of the get metadata is giving it to the filter activity. Let's go for settings. We need to take items means output of this get metadata. Let's add a dynamic content. Now you can see here get metadata child items, you have to take it. Get metadata child items. Let's hit OK. In the filter condition, you have to write a filter condition. So to see this file name, what you're doing, we already done the same thing. In order to get the list of items in data factory, we are going to use at item. Is going to give list of items. From the list of items, if you want to get at item dot name, is going to give name of the file from the list. From the list of items, it is going to take a file. So this file will come, every iteration, because list of items, right? First it will give this, then it will give this, and followed by others. So that is how it is going to be happen. We already know it. So how we can write the condition here is, let's take a condition. At item dot name is going to give the name of the file. So I'm checking there is a function called contents. There is a function called contents. Contents is going to return true or false. Let's say, for example, I'm just saying contents Bhaskar A. Is there A or not? It is just checking. Yes, true will be returned. Same thing, contents Bhaskar B. So it is not having the B in the basket. So it is going to give, sorry, let me give B is there, C. In this case, it is going to give a false. So in the same way, I'm just going to check inside my file name. I'm just checking is my file name having a .csv or not. If it is having .csv, if file name is having .csv, then it is going to return true. Otherwise, it is not going to return true. Simple. Inside this, we don't require it. So I'm just going to take this expression to apply the filter condition. So contents, you can just check how exactly this contents is going to work. You can see here function. Returns true if the directory contains a key, list of contents, values, string contains substring, something like that. So if whatever the specified text that you're checking, if it is available, it returns true, else it returns false. Now I'm just going to say here, let's hit OK. Let me debug this. What is the output of this filter activity I wanted to say? Filter activity output, you can say items count, which is coming from the input is 7. Filtered items count is 2. It is giving 2 items of value arrayed here is 7 list of items of customer.csv, employee.csv. This is one of the way to write the expression. You can use the contents. Apart from the contents, we have a function called at ends with. Okay, I'm just checking with the same example. Let's say Bhaskar is Bhaskar. Let me keep in the same line. Is Bhaskar ending with R? Then it is going to say true. Because it is ending with R. R ends with. Let's say same Bhaskar is ending with C. That is going to give a false because it is not ending with C. It is ending with R. The same to same that you can apply with this ends with also. Ends with. So first argument is the name of the file, item.name. Ends with what? .csv. This is also going to give the same result. Just have a look and debug it. Now if you see the output of the files, same output of. So you can use any of the expression, whatever you feel easy that you can take it. So contents is going to check in the entire text and ends with is going to check only ending characters. Whatever you specified is that ending with the specified text or not, we are going to use it. So quite opposite to ends with, we have a starts with function also. Okay, I'll give a task for you. You can try from your side. by keeping few of the files. That is fine. Now the output of this filter activity, I wanted to give it to for each activity because I wanted to copy the files. I wanted to copy these files from input directory to output directory. So in order to do this, 100% you have to go for each activity. Let's take a for each and connect to for each activity. We know this already, how exactly we can do it. Let's take a output of filter activity, not get metadata activity. Filter activity here. Somewhere you can see output dot value. So why I'm writing the value, I'll show you. I'm just taking value here. The reason is, if you see the filter activity here, filter activity name dot output dot value. So value is having the list of files. Okay, so you have to write the output like this. Now it is having the output of this for each activity, and I wanted to go inside this for each. So inside for each, I'm going to give the copy data activity. So we already know how we can have a source data set and target data set. Let me create a new data set here. Azure Data Lake Storage N2. The inner data set, when you copy a file from source to target, 100% is that should point to the file. Your data set the data set should point to the file. So I'm just taking here a ds underscore data files underscore input underscore file. Let's take a link service and go to your data files input folder. I'm not pointing to the file. I have to do it in a different way by creating a parameter. We have to do it. Let's hit OK. And then keep in mind to create a parameter because it is iterating a loop. File name is not fixed. So I'm just going to create a parameter file name. Let's go to connection back. So here you have to attach the name of the file. Hit OK. And the way we created input data set, in the same way output data set also you have to create it. Let's clone this data set. We already know how we can clone it. I'm just saying output file. So this one should change to output. Dataset file name is same. And let's go to the pipeline. So in the copy data activity, I'm taking a source data set, that is input file. So input file is asking the name of the file. You have to say item.name. Item.name is going to give the name of the file. Let's go to the sync. Output file. Output file is expecting a date format, right? You have to get date. So yesterday, if you remember, we have used substring function. Okay, I'm just trying to write it again. Substring. So from the substring, I'm trying to get a part of the file. Item.name. So starting from 0 till what position we have to get? Till dot position. Okay, so item.name, comma. I wanted to find the dot. Let's close this part. This part is going to give a customer. And if you wanted to get the date part, we need to have the date part, right? To get the date part, we have to use format datetime. Add format datetime. And then UTC now, comma, here you are going to use mmdd YYY. Let's close this. And what else is required? I required all our .csv, right? So I don't need to take it dynamically. So I can pass this entire thing into the concatenate function. Concat. Yesterday we came across it. This is one part, and underscore is required, and date format is required, comma, and Finally, .csv is required. Let's close this. So wherever there is a at, just take out them. That's all. Take this entire expression and paste it in the expression builder. Let's hit OK. So this is for target. And I'm just going to run this pipeline. If I run this pipeline, it is going to read the data from only CSV files. Let's debug it. So since we already know it, I'm just writing here. But we talked about by seeing each and every part, we have seen it. Now it is completed. If you go and say your target, containers, data files, inside the data files output folder, and you can say a date is getting. So whatever you are expecting in the output, the same thing it is showing here. So this is the usage of this filter activity. Now I'm going to talk about switch activity. Okay, so if we have a situation, then you may come across this. So switch means it's like multiple conditions. If you have a single condition, then you can, let's say for example, if you take if condition, what it is doing, it is going to check the condition. If condition is satisfied, then it is doing something. If it is condition failed, then it is doing something. That means we have a true block and we have a false block if we go for if condition. If you have a multiple conditions, then what we can do it? If you have a multiple conditions, how we can do is we are going to use the switch activity. It is used to execute set of activities based on the condition. It is used to execute set of activities based on condition. Set of activities based on the condition. So condition means expression in this switch activity. We are going to say practically how exactly it is going to be there. So expression always returns either true or false. Okay, if it is true, then what you wanted to do, and if it is false, then what you wanted to do, we can decide. Okay, so let's say for example, I'm going to write a case. If this expression is returning case 1, if this expression, the expression value is equal to case 1, then I wanted to execute the set of activities. So what are the set of activities? It is going to depends on the business requirement. You can take a set of activities. If the expression value is equivalent to case 2, if expression value is equivalent to case 2, then other set of activities will be executed. You can control it. And if the value of this expression is case 3, then some other set of activities are going to be executed. Okay, so some other set of activities are going to be executed. Like that, we can have a multiple cases. So it is equivalent to case statement in SQL Server. It is equivalent to case statement in SQL programming. Okay, so SQL or even any other programming languages also, we are going to have it. So now I'm going to show you practically how exactly we are going to use this. I have a requirement. So try to understand this requirement. Create a pipeline to copy data from input to output. Input is employee.csv and output is employee.csv. I wanted to copy a file from input directory to output directory. There is only one file. Okay, so for one file, I wanted to execute one copy data activity. If the parameter value is copy, if the parameter value is the copy, then copy the file from source to target. Or if the parameter value is delete, then remove the file from the output folder. So simple. I have a parameter name. The name of the parameter is param action. So I'm going to select the value. I'm going to keep the values of this parameter as a copy and delete. If the value of the parameter is copy, then copy a file from input to output. If the parameter value is delete, then delete a file from the output, not from the input. I have given here from the output folder. Okay, so if you have a copy, if the value of the parameter is copy, then copy a file from input to output. If the value of the parameter is delete, then delete a file from the output folder. Okay, so parameter, the difference between the parameter and variable. We already seen variable. If you remember, we already come across variable. In data factory, we didn't come across parameter. At data set level, we have come across it. Parameter always expects a value from the parameter at the time of execution. If you have a parameter, it is going to ask you to pass the value of the parameter. If you have only variable, it will never ask a value at the time of running. So it is going to set the value at the time of running. We have seen already set variable activity. I have created a variable. When I run by having a variable, it is not going to ask. Let me show you the difference. You can see. I'm just going to create a pipeline. Let me create an empty pipeline here. Pipeline underscore switch activity. I'm just giving some name. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a variable file name. I'm just keeping the wait activity. Just debug it. It is going to run. It is not asking a value for the variable. But if I have a parameter, pay file name, just observe. Let's debug it. What it is asking? It is asking the name of the value. So that is what I'm saying here. Parameter, they always expect a value from the parameter at the time of execution. But variables don't require to pass the value at the time of runtime. We can set a value at the time of runtime. Okay, so we can set a value. Even if you don't set, it is going to take a blank because variable is allowing to keep the blank. But here it is not allowing to keep a blank. You have to keep something. Okay, so then only it is going to be executed. Otherwise, pipeline is not going to be executed. So that is the intention of this parameter and variable. So 100% you have to enter the value for the parameter. Because of that reason, I'm taking a parameter name called param action. Let me take a param action. I'm just taking out this variable. I don't need it. Do not get confusion. I just created a parameter. So when I try to run this parameter, it is going to ask you to pass the value of the parameter. Now, if I give a copy of the value, you can also keep a default value. If I give a copy, then I wanted to copy from input to output. Okay, so I'm just going to keep a switch activity now. Switch activity. Let's keep the switch. So in the switch, you have to write an expression. That is what I told you here. Expression is nothing but a condition. Write a condition. What is the value of the parameter? Let's take a parameter. Let's take a parameter. So value from the parameter it is going to get, if that is equivalent to, I'm just going to say add a case. The first case is copy. The first case I'm taking copy. If it is copy, then I wanted to do something. If it is delete, then I wanted to do something. So two cases are there here. Two cases are there. Case 1 is copy, case 2 is delete. Case 1 is copy and case 2 is delete. So when the value of this expression, when the value of this parameter is equivalent to copy, when the value of the parameter is equivalent to copy, then we are going to execute these activities. Whatever the activities are there inside this, it is going to be executed. I'm just going to take a copy data activity. I'm just taking a copy data activity. So copy data activity is having input data set. I'm going to take the input data set. It is asking the name of the file. It is asking the name of the file. So the name of the file I'm just going to take here is employee.cs. We can also do one thing. What I can do is, because I don't want to disturb the existed data set, let me keep a variable file name. The value of the file name is employee.csv. Employee.csv. This is fixed. Let's go here. You can see how exactly it is. When it is a copy, you have to go inside this copy block. In the copy block, I'm just taking a input data set. That means source data set. We have to pass the file name. If you remember, very starting, we have taken the file name from the variable. Okay, so this is fine. And the same way sync data set. Sync data set is output file. So here also I'm going to take the same to same, your variable name of it. Let's hit OK. So it is going to copy a file from input to output by using this particular block. So if parameter value is a copy, then this set of block will be executed. If parameter value is a delete, then I have to add a delete activity here. Let's take a delete activity. We already seen in the last session how we can get delete activity. Let's take a source. Source data set is what? From the output, I wanted to delete it. You're getting my point? From the output directory, I wanted to do it. So you can see here, if the parameter value is delete, then remove the file from the output folder. If you don't pass any value to the parameter, then ignore it. So if you don't pass any value, then you just ignore it. Okay, so I'm just going to say add dynamic. Let's go here. You have to take a parameter file. So logging, I'm just going to enable it. You can keep a log, what file it is removed. You can say, and I'm just going to browse the input folder. Let's keep in the output folder itself. Or let's better go with the input. So inside input, I'm going to have a folder called log. That's all. So we already come across this delete activity. Now I'm going to run this pipeline. When I run this pipeline, it is asking what is the name of the value. So I'm just going to say copy. I'm just going to say copy. So if it is a copy, then it is going to copy a file from one place to another place. Let's hit OK. If you have a employee.csv, then you can find employee.csv with the same date format, but I don't think it is going to be overlaid. No, it's the same file name because we are not adding the date, so that is fine. You are able to see customer.csv if it is a copy. Again, I'm just running this. Once it is succeeded, it is completed. Again, I'm running second time. So when I run second time, what happens is I'm just going to say delete. So when I say delete, it is going to delete the file from the output directory. From the output directory means this file will be removed. Let's hit OK. Now if you go and say refresh here, you cannot see the employee.csv file. Okay, so in the data factory, in variable, I'm just going to say some other file. Okay, let's say department.json. Let me keep customer.csv. Now again, I'm just running it. Let's say it is a copy. Then customer.csv file is going to be copied because this is a dynamic. Let's refresh. If you refresh this, you can find customer.csv. If I rerun again, if I say delete, then customer.csv file will be removed. So here my intenseness depends on the condition, depends on the value of your parameter, your set of activities are going to be executed. You can have a single activity here, you can have a multiple activities also. Now you can see. That's all. This is how we are going to handle it. If you refresh, no customer.csv file. And then I'm going to talk about this until activity. Why we need to go for until activity? I'll come back to here. First of all, I wanted to create a pipeline to read the data from the file to source to target. Okay, to source to target, I wanted to do it. So what happens here is, in the data factory, let me create a new pipeline. Pipeline underscore until activity. Let's take a copy data. The copy data is expecting source data set, right? I'm just going to create a variable here, variable file name, so that it works for any kind of file. Let's say customer.csv I'm taking. The name of the file is customer.csv. Let's keep this as lowercase. And so source data set is required. We are already having source data set input file. Input file is having, it is asking the name of the file. And output sync data set I'm taking. And sync data set also is asking name of the file. You can take it same to same, it is going to copy it. I'm just taking out all these files from the output directory. No files are available in the output. Let it done. Now, if I run this pipeline, let me close all of them. If I run this pipeline, it is going to copy a customer.csv from input directory to output directory. That is fine. If the file is not available, okay, so if you refresh it, I have a file. That is fine. Let me remove again from the target. So from the source, what I'm doing is I'm just renaming this file. Let's just rename. Otherwise, let me remove this file. We can rename it customer1.csv. I'm just taking. You're trying to read the file from the customer.csv. If I run this pipeline, it is going to be failed. It is going to be failed. What is the error we are getting here? File path not found. Error code is file path not found. Because file customer.csv is not available. You are having customer1.csv. Okay, so what we can do is before executing this copy data activity, I wanted to check is my file existed or not. I wanted to check is my file existed or not. Let's say, in order to check it, we need to use the get metadata activity. We know it already. So get metadata activity is going to take an input data set, and here it is going to take a file name from the variable customer.csv and make sure to take the field list as exists. So exists is going to give a true or false. If it is true, then execute this. On success of this, it will go. But let's observe. If I run again it is going to fail. Because this get metadata, either it is success or failure, it doesn't care. It is going to start your copy data. Again, your copy data is going to be failed. Okay, so file is available. Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm just going to say, so don't think that I rename this file. You just imagine this file itself is not available. If file is available, then I wanted to run it. But get metadata is going to check is file available or not. But if file is available, then it will say true. If the file is not available, then it will say false. So this approach is not going to provide the solution. Until unless the file is available, you are not supposed to execute this copy data activity. So in order to wait till your file is available, then you have to go for until activity. You have to use until activity. Until activity is used to iterate the loop till the condition is succeeded. What is the condition? Checking of the file. If the file is available, then come out of it. Otherwise, do not come out of it. So I'm going to keep the condition inside the until activity. Once condition is succeeded, the condition is what? Checking the file is the condition. Once that condition is succeeded, then we can come out of until activity. So until activity is going to be there. It is going to iterate. This is like a while loop. Okay, so while loop means once the condition is satisfied, then only it will come out of it. You will go inside first. While is going to be inside. Without condition, it will go inside. Once the condition is succeeded, then it will come out of it. So in programming languages, it is like do while loop. Do while or while loop is there in the programming languages. Okay, so once the condition is satisfied, it will come out of it. Till the condition is satisfied, it is going to iterate again and again. Okay, so it is equivalent to while loop. So in order to do this, how exactly I'm going to handle? I'm going to show you. Create a pipeline to read the data from employee.csv file from the input directory to output directory only if the file is existed, else wait till the file is available in the data source. Just observe, I'm going to create one variable. This entire thing is very much similar. Let me create one more variable called variable until. This until I'm not keeping any value for this. First time I'm going to set false. But I cannot take a boolean value, it is not allowing. So I'm just going to convert this value later. So what I'm going to do is, let me take a until activity. Let's take out this from here. Keep this outside only. Until activity is asking you to set the expression. What is the expression here? I wanted to set first. I wanted to set this false. Okay, so if my variable is allowing to keep the false here, then I can directly say false. But it will not allow. It is not allowing for some reason. So for that reason, I'm just going to convert this into bool data type. So there is a function called bool. So bool is expecting to pass the variable name. We just take a until variable here. Until variable. That is what I'm just doing here. So until bool of false is going to give a false. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll keep the value here because I have a blank, right? Let me keep the value here as a false. So string value I'm keeping. This is a string. It's not a boolean. But to make it boolean, I need to convert this, your value of the parameter v until should be converted into bool data type. The value of this is what? False. False is going to be converted into false only. Okay, that means it's just converting the string into bool data type. You can see here, I have given bool of false is going to be false only. Okay, so if the file is existed, then I wanted to change the value of this until is equivalent to true. So how we can set it? We'll do now. It is going to run till 12 hours. It is going to run. Let's go inside this until activity. In the until activity, I'm going to use a set variable activity. First of all, we need to get metadata. Right? First, you need to check is my file existed or not. So last time we kept outside, right? Now I'm going to keep inside. What is the set value of this? I'm just taking a name of file name from the variable. I'm checking is file existed or not in the data source. So it is going to give true or false. It is going to give true or false. The output of the get metadata, I wanted to give it to another activity because this is giving true or false. But who can check is the output of the get metadata is false, or who will check is get metadata activity output is true. So that person is here if condition. We are going to use the if condition activity. That means we are giving the output of the get metadata to if condition activity. The output of this is going to give what? True or false. If it is true, then this true block will be executed. Now what we can do is, in the expression, I'm just going to say the output of your get metadata activity exists. Exists returns true or false. If it is true, the true block will be executed, and if it is false, the false block will be executed. So I wanted to say true. Let's say when this is true, then I wanted to do this. Let's go inside this true. I'm going to set a value of the variable. Set variable activity. So set, I'm just going to set a value for this until. Here I'm going to say true here. Let me check. Okay, let me say true only. Let's say it okay. So when it is true, the value of this is true, then what happens is it is going to come out of it. If it is true, your until activity is going to come out of it. Just observe, I'm just going to make a connection to this. So copy activity is having same to same. So this is going to be executed only if this is completed successfully. So when it is going to be completed successfully, only if the file is existed. Now, if file is not existed, it is going to be iterate the loop. the field list get metadata. There is a property, we missed it. You have to take the property of this is exists. That's all. Let's debug it. You can see get metadata 1 is in the queue. It is succeeded. The value of this is what? False. I think I have to write it in a lowercase. Again, it is going for the get metadata. So every time it is going to continuously runs. So when it is going to be coming out of this, I'm just going to upload the file here. Customer.csv we are taking, right? Let's upload. And then it is going to come out of your until activity. Now you can say get metadata is true because file is available. So it came out of it. It is true. When it is true, it is coming out of it. Copy data is going on. Copy data is completed. So if file is not available, it will not go for copy. Okay, so if you go and see the data in the output, you can see customer.csv. So I'm just changing the value of the variable here. I'm just taking employee.csv. So it will check for employee.csv. We have employee.csv. It is available. I'm just going to rename this as employee1.csv. So I'm just going to run this. Let's debug. So since we are using the variable concept, you can change the file name. Whatever the file name you wanted to check, you can take it. So it is going to continuously run is file existed or not. Not at copy. Copy data is not getting executed. Say here. But when I go and rename this file as employee.csv, then it is going to start run. Now you can see copy data is getting. Get metadata is true. So this is also one of the interview questions. Just give me a moment. So there is a small explanation. I wanted to do this so that we can wind up the similar kind of exercise. I'm just taking the note from my previous batch. So we are using until activity, right? So we have a replacement of that. Because of similarity, I just wanted to reuse that so that we can save the time. Okay, so now I'm going to share it. So observe. So until activity, what happens every time it is going to iterate the loop. Okay, so set of activities are going to be there to execute it. But instead of that, we can have a directly validation activity. So validation activity is going to be executed only if the file is available. If the reference data set is available, then only this file validation activity will be completed. So if it is completed, then the further activity is going to be started. Okay, so in place of replacement of your until activity, you can use validation activity. So same to same, there will be no difference between them. Okay, so the same task it is. It is used to check a data set existence in the data source. We are going to create one data set. It is just going to, to say whatever the data set you are referring by using validation activity, it is going to check is that data set existence in the data source or not. If it is not available, it will sleep for the specified time. So if it's specified 2 seconds, it will sleep for 2 seconds. Again, it will go and check. If it is not available, again it will sleep for some time, and again it will go and check. So then, once it will sleep for specified time, then it will go for sleep. Once it is completed your sleeping time, then it will go for rechecking. The same thing is going to be happen till the file is available. So that means this iteration is going to be happen till your file is available. So whatever we have done the last use case, the same thing, I'm just going to reuse that. Let's go here. I'm going to create a new pipeline to avoid confusion. Pipeline underscore validation activity. Let's take a validation here. So it is going to ask you to pass the data set. Data set it is asked. We already having input data set, right? So I'm just going to create a variable because we are using a variable concept. Variable file name. What is the name of the file? Whatever it is. Customer.csv I'm saying. Let's go here. Data set is input file. It is asking a file name from the variable I'm taking. Let's hit OK. That's all. So 10 seconds is the default sleep time. Okay, so you can go for less than or more than. And it is same to same. So this is much more easier than your until activity. You're doing some stuff inside the until. Why you need to do it? You can go directly and use the validation. Okay, so I'm just going to take a copy data activity here. Let's make a connection to copy data. Take a source data set, that is input file. And file name I'm taking from the variable. And sync also I'm going to take a output data set. So file name I'm going to take it from the variable. That's all. So I'm just going to take out the file from the output folder. No file is available. So I'm just checking your customer.csv file. I'm just renaming this. Save validation. The way you've done for until activity, in the same way we are going to do it for validation activity also. Let's debug it. So you don't require to write expression. You don't require to have a if condition. Just this is straightforward. So it is going to be executed. Waiting. You can see that the duration is 13 seconds means it is its second iteration is started. Once this is done, then it is going for sleep for 10 seconds, right? Now I'm going to rename the file as a customer.csv. Let's save on it. Now if you go here, see your validation is completed. validation is checking exists is true or false. So this is going to return either true or false. So if it is true, then your copy data is going to be started. Now if you go and see the target, you can see the file. So if you want to check for employee file, then you can just go and change the name of the file. In the variable, you can give it employee.cs. So the reason why I'm taking a parameter is whatever the file you wanted to take it, you can take it. So for that reason, I have taken. So in this particular case, I have given the file name, but you can make it variable so that you can take any kind of file name for checking. Okay, so this is also an interview. There is a more chances to ask what is the difference between until and validation activity. So until will come only if it is true. If the condition is satisfied, then only it will come out of it. Of course, your validation also does the same thing, but your validation is not expecting someone to set the truth, but your until is expecting someone to set a value to true. We are using a set variable to set a value, but here it is not. Okay. So I'm stopping here. If you have any question, you can ask me. Make yourself unmute and ask a question.
Sir, I have one question, sir. Where are we?
Yeah, please tell me.
Sir, in the first pipeline, we have read the data from only from the directory, not in the subfolders in the CSV, in the first pipeline that we have created.
Yes.
So how it will going to, so is that inside iteration also will be happening, but the other files are only it will take only input drive. I mean,
basically, it will not go for nested folders. If you wanted to go for nested folders, then you have to do it in a different approach. Okay, so I'll explain one use case and tomorrow. Okay, so that you will get a better clarity. I can say two different approaches are there to read the data from. To read data from nested folders. One is for each inside for each. For each inside for each. That is one thing. Another is with config table. Configuration table. I recommend to go with the second approach.
okay.
Okay, so because we don't know how many iterations, how many subfolders will be there. Okay, but when you go here, if you go with this one, we are not sure about how many subfolders are there. So because of that reason, this is not recommended. But this one, you can specify the value of the configuration. What are the number of folders you're having that you can specify. This will be the better approach. I'll take you through both of them and you can take whatever you feel easy. If you have that kind of situation, but mostly you may not have that kind of requirement. If at all, if you have it, then definitely you have to go with the configuration table. This is recommended.
Okay, and one more thing, in the switch activity, we have taken two parameters like copy and delete. So those are case sensitive or how it is like? So we just
I didn't check that. You can just verify that.
Okay.
Okay, so if I have a pipeline, let me check it now itself.
Because we have used C as a capital, yeah.
Copy.
Success.
Yeah, not a case sensitive.
Okay, and one more thing, sir, in the until activity. So, so we mentioned 12 hours in the duration of verifying the file is exist or not. So it will cost the same 12 hours because pipeline still running, right?
Definitely.
Okay. So
it is in the running model, right?
Okay, otherwise we can say alternative is for until is validation activity.
Validation also does the same thing.
Okay.
Validation also does the same thing. Only thing is you are not having many activities.
Okay, got it, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's all I answer. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? So tomorrow we are going to say like there will be an interview question. Basically, When you have a for each, you cannot keep another for each. Okay, so let's say for example, if I have a new pipeline,
Mhm.
if I have a for each activity, here I need to search. So when I go inside for each, automatically you can see for each is disabled. So for each inside for each is not possible, but if you want to make it possible, you can make it in a different way. Okay, so that I'll take you through on next session.
Sir, one more thing. In the only debugging the pipelines, so only here is the option or is there any alternative for debug as well, like executing the pipeline?
This is for runtime. This is for development at the time of development. So in production, we are going to use trigger.
Okay, like scheduling.
Yes, we are going to talk about it.
Okay, sir, fine.
So development time, at the time of development, everyone has to use the same thing. If you want to schedule or if you want to go for manual run, you can go for even this also. Trigger
Okay.
now, on demand run, and schedule.
Okay,
This is on demand run also we have it.
okay, these are the two options.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, fine. Thank you.
What is this QA? QA means QA environment will be there, right? In the development, like in QA, you are not going to debug it. Okay. There will be no debug in the QA. The people who are doing a QA is not going to come and run this. Okay, so you have to, you need to have a, they will do only set of data validations. Okay. They will run the jobs and they will see the data. The data validation, they will check it. Okay, so okay then I'm going to stop here. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining.